Hello again, everybody. It is August 14, 2024, this time at just about 10 p.m. This article is relatively new, just like my last post. This goes about Uvalde. This comes from AP News, and the title is called Former Uvalde Schools Police Chief Says He's Being Scapegoated Over Response to Mass Shooting. This was written by Jim Vertuno and Nadia Lathan on August 8, 2024. Austin, Texas. The former police chief of the Uvalde School District said he thinks he's been scapegoated as the one to blame for the botched law enforcement response to the Robb Elementary School shooting, when hundreds of officers waited more than an hour to confront the gunman, even as children were lying dead and wounded inside adjoining classrooms. Pete Arredondo and another former district police officer are the only two people to have been charged over their actions that day, even though nearly 400 local, state, and federal officers responded to the scene and waited as children called 911 and parents begged the officers to go in. I've been scapegoated from the very beginning, Arredondo told CNN during an interview that aired Wednesday. The sit-down marked his first public statements in 2 years about the May 24, 2022 attack that killed 19 students and two teachers, making it one of the deadliest shootings in U.S. history. Within days after shooting, Colonel Steve McCraw, the head of the Texas Department of Public Safety, identified Arredondo as the incident commander of a law enforcement response that included nearly 100 state troopers and officers from the Border Patrol. Even with the massive law enforcement presence, officers waited more than 70 minutes to breach the classroom door and kill the shooter. Scathing state and federal investigative reports about the police response catalog cascading failures in training, communication, leadership, and technology problems. A grand jury indicted Arredondo and former Uvalde Schools police officer Adrian Gonzalez last month on multiple charges of child endangerment and abandonment. They pleaded not guilty. The indictment against Arredondo contends that he didn't follow his active shooter training and made critical decisions that slowed the police response while the gunman was hurting victims. Arredondo told CNN that the narrative that he is responsible for the police response that day and ignore his training is based on lies and deception. If you look at the body cam footage, there was no hesitation. There was no hesitation in myself and the first handful of officers that went in there and went straight into the hot zone, as you may call it, and took fire, Arredondo said, noting that footage also shows he wasn't wearing a protective vest as officers inside the school pondered what to do. Despite being cast as the incident commander, Arredondo said state police should have set up a command post outside and taken control. The guidebook tells you the incident commander does not stand in the hallway and get shot at. Arredondo, the incident commander, is someone who is not in the hot zone. The Texas Department of Public Safety, which oversees the state police and other statewide law enforcement agencies, did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Uvalde County District Attorney Christina Mitchell declined to discuss Arredondo's interview. Javier Cazares, whose daughter Jacqueline Cazares was one of the students killed, criticized Arredondo's comments. I don't understand his feeling that there was no wrongdoing. He heard the shots. There was no excuse for not going in, Cazares told the Associated Press on Thursday. There were children. Shots were fired. Kids were calling for help, and he didn't do anything. Arredondo refused to watch clips of the police response. I kept myself from that. It's difficult for me to see that. These are my children too, he told CNN. He also said it wasn't until several days after the attack that he heard there were children who were still alive in the classroom and calling 911 for help while officers waited outside. When asked if he thought he made mistakes that day, Arredondo said, "It's hindsight statement. You can think all day and second guess yourself. I know we did the best we could do with what we had." Which is bullshit because he was the incident commander. He should have gone in while those kids sat there and screamed for help. They called 911, begging for somebody to come save them, begging for a hero to save their day, to save their friends, to save their family, to save their classmates. But Pete Arredondo did nothing. Like, this massacre that took place at Uvalde Elementary, Robb Elementary, is just outright the most failure in history. 19 kids, 19 children, 2 teachers. You heard gunshots. You seen parents trying to run into the school to save their kids. But police officers that have guns, they had these assault rifles, they had all these shields, sat out there for 77 minutes while kids were being slaughtered like farm animals going into the kills shelter. Uvalde Police Department failed those children. The mayor failed the children. The governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, failed those children. You're telling me out of 400 different police officers, only 2 people are being held accountable? Like, where's the accountability for all the other police officers? You know, if I was a police officer here, I would have fucking went in, disobeyed my superior's orders, because at the end of the day, it's the kids. I would have put my life personally on the line and said, fuck my job. I'm going in there to save the kids and do what I got to do. If I have to die to save those 19 kids and 2 teachers, I would have done it. But you had 400 police officers that could not think like me and just say, fuck the incident commander. We're going in. We're not going to let 19 kids and 2 children, 19 kids and 2 teachers die. Every single police officer that's still working on Uvalde Police Department needs to step down. You need to pass the baton. That police department needs reform. Resources need to be reallocated from that police department because it was horrible. It's disgusting what happened that day. This is Tyler wrapping up another podcast. I hope you try to have a good rest of your day.